queso fresco. Yeah, queso fresco. We're learning how to speak in Spanish, and we're also learning how to cook. Good chance we're doing both poorly, but I'm very confident this dish is gonna taste good. Let's make some enchiladas. All right, welcome to Kitchen Captain. I'm Ian Walsh, and today we're going to Mexico. We're gonna do enchiladas two ways. One that's gonna be really easy that you can knock out when you're way too lazy and hungover to make an elaborate dish, which is gonna be a red sauce right out of this can. The other one is gonna be an enchiladas verde, which is gonna be a delicious green sauce that we're gonna make from scratch. Let's go. Okay, we're gonna start with our verde sauce and take this all the way through. Fresh tomatillos, gonna cut these things in half, get them onto a foil-lined baking sheet. Our chilies of choice are gonna be poblanos, these big dogs right here, some Anaheims, which have a nice vibrant green color, and some serranos for a bit more heat. The poblanos, they're gonna go straight in as is. We're gonna cut off the stems of these, and then we're gonna de-seed them. Also gonna add an onion. And we're just gonna roughly chop this. They don't need to be into small pieces because it's gonna get blended. Probably should have done this a few minutes ago, but I'm gonna turn my oven on broil because we need that to be hot to char these. We're gonna add a few cloves of garlic. Trim the end off before we give this thing a good smashing. That's a horrible smashing. It's more like it. All right, while we wait for that oven to heat up, we're gonna get our cheese shredded. We're gonna use pepper jack for its meltability. It's very meditative until you get down to this end, and then you start to think you might take a layer of your thumb skin off. Okay, next up we have our queso fresco. Yeah, queso fresco. Thought it might have been a fresca, but it's O. We're multitasking. We're learning how to speak in Spanish, and we're also learning how to cook. Good chance we're doing both poorly, but I'm very confident this dish is gonna taste good. It's a pretty crumbly, dry cheese. It's a good crumbly, dry cheese. Third and final cheese, cotija. Gonna be a little sharper, a little more salty, so probably not gonna use as much of this as the other ones. Break this up. Oh, or just throw it all over your counter if that's easier for you. We have our cheeses prepped, oven's hot. We're gonna clean these paws off and get our vegetables under that broiler. Get these things in there without burning one of your eyebrows off. Close it up, probably gonna take about 10 to 12 minutes. We do want some char, but we don't want the entire thing just a blackened mess. So keep a little watchful eye. Gonna come clean here. I have no idea how many enchiladas are gonna fit in our casserole dishes, but we're just gonna make everything we have right here, get them warm. And if they don't fit, they'll be nice and pliable for my breakfast tacos tomorrow. Okay, we're gonna give these a turn now. These tomatillos are done, they're gonna come out. The rest of that stuff can continue on its adventure. And we definitely wanna save all this juice in this sheet pan too. Note to self, if you put scalding hot tomatillos into a bowl and your hand's down on the lower bit there, probably gonna burn you. And you're gonna have no one to blame but yourself. We're gonna get 2 cups of stock. I'm using some homemade stock. You can use store-bought, you can use veggie stock, you can use whatever stock you want. It's gonna be a bath for our poblanos, make it easier to get those skins off. Okay, gonna get our poblanos into our bowl of stock. Cover these things up, let them sweat. Everything else can just go right into our bowl with our tomatillos. We also want all of this delicious juice, some juicy tomatillos. Take our poblanos out of their steam bath, nice and cool. De-skin them, get rid of their stems, and take the seeds out. And we're gonna add it to the rest of our mixture. The steam process did work. And this might seem tedious, because it is, but it will be worth it. And if you're wondering why you have to skin these, it's a good question. And a chef that's a lot smarter than me can probably answer that. Okay, now we're gonna strain out our stock to use it to thin out our verde sauce. Blend this up. Immersion blender right into our bowl. If this is a nightmare, we will put this in a Vitamix. Almost a nightmare. Yeah, this is looking like a one-way street to an absolute disaster. Immersion blender was great on paper, not so great in reality. Much safer. And we're gonna add a little bit of salt, cilantro. It's real fast right now. Let's get this out of here. Give this a blend. It's gonna be thick and we're gonna use our stock to thin this out. Just a little taste, see how our salt's doing. Ooh, it's got a little kick, to it. A little bit more salt, a little bit of our stock. Because this would be like a good base for salsa right now, thickness-wise, but we want it a little thinner for our enchiladas. Delicious enchilada verde sauce. Okay, now for the easy one. We're gonna take a simple can of red enchilada sauce, add a little bit of slurry, because I always feel like these canned enchilada sauces are a little bit thin, so we're gonna thicken it up. Okay, for our slurry, it's gonna add equal parts cornstarch and water. Just gonna slowly add a little bit of this in, and it's gonna thicken up with the heat. And this is already starting to get thicker, and it's coating our spoon a little bit better. A little bit more and we should be good. Oh, don't spill the whole thing in there. Okay, our sauce is a bit thicker. It's ready for our tortillas. We're gonna layer the bottom of our casserole dish, and we're gonna get a good scoop onto this plate where we're gonna build our tortillas. So tortillas, a little bit pliable, they're warmed up. We're gonna get them into our sauce. About 2 tablespoons of filling for each one. We're gonna do a little bit of chicken, a little bit of the cotija. Was it cotija? A little bit of cotija cheese, a little bit of our pepper jack. We don't want to get them too tight to where we can't roll them. And then we're gonna go seam side down. I'll just keep this train going until our casserole dish is full. And the shredded chicken we're using is left over from a smoked beer can chicken. And I'll put a link to that recipe below and above if you're interested in making it. You can cook your chicken however you want. You don't even need to use chicken. Use vegetables if you want to use vegetables. Okay, might be able to squeeze one more fatty in here. Okay, we'll doctor these up before they go in the oven, but we'll get to red ones now. A good note is to make sure your tortillas are warm enough before you start rolling them up. Put them in the oven, toss them through some oil, or microwave them so they're not gonna break on you. No one said this wasn't gonna be messy. Okay, let's dress these up. We go right down the center with our green sauce. Same thing with the red, just giving this a good covering. Then we're gonna use some of our queso fresco right down the middle too. Then finish with our pepper jack and that ever important meltability. I think these look pretty good. Okay, now we're gonna cover both of these and whack them in the oven on 350. These are gonna be in here for about 15 minutes. It's been 15 minutes. We're just gonna pop the foil off of each of these. Wow, that took a little bit of cheese with it. Slowly take that one off. Now we'll just let these cook uncovered for another 10 to 12 minutes. Yeah, those look pretty good. Okay, let's plate these things. Carefully try to get these out of here. That was sketchy. Let's try these things. Try the red first. That's good. If you're in a time crunch, you just don't have it in you to make a sauce from scratch, it's not a bad option. That's so good. Let's get into the enchilada verde with the homemade sauce. This one is phenomenal. If you don't want it spicy, you can back off on the seeds and stems inside the serranos, because this thing's definitely got a little mouth punch to it, but I like it, and the flavor is ridiculous. The homemade one is definitely better, which I think we all could have probably placed a bet on that before we did this. They're both good. I mean, the charred flavor from that little broil party we did in there, the broil world there is good. Both of them having the cheese inside of it with a little cheese outside, pretty much a welcome addition to every single bite. These might be overachieving because we're using possibly the juiciest smoked beer can chicken meat on the face of this earth. There we go. Enchiladas 2 ways. One lazy version with just a canned sauce that is delicious, and one version that was a bit more of an undertaking with a homemade verde sauce. Thanks for watching.